Thank you very much, ED of Transport and the MD of Metrobus and the CEO of GRA. I'm sure some of you, as you heard acting, you thought that we are in Hollywood, but we are committed to dealing with the issues of acting. A few weeks ago, the media asked me what are my priorities in as far as this department is concerned. And I said that I had not even reached my office. I did not even know at the time where the toilet was, where the kitchen was, and I didn't even know if my office had a bar. I must now confirm to the media that I have found the office, I have found the bar, I have found the toilet is very clean, and the kitchen is very big. But what impressed me more was the bar. The only thing that disappointed me with the bar, although it's big, is that there was only a bottle of water in the fridge, which reminded me of my mother's fridge. I took a responsibility that I understood the challenges that it is facing. Somebody gave me a quote by DJ Dios when he said, politicians, we need politicians or political parties that can compete about service delivery and not about stealing money from the poor. I commit that I am a politician that wants to compete about service delivery. So I'm going to start with Metrobus. Metrobus was established around the year 2000. The business model of Metrobus is based on a subsidy from the city of Johannesburg. Metrobus was established to mitigate the cost of transport fares for people going to work and coming back home. There has been a few challenges with regard to the performance of Metrobus. At the center of all these challenges is budgetary constraints. There is not enough money every financial year to support Metrobus so that it can be able to reach its targets. The cost of maintenance of the buses is a big issue. As of today, we are sitting at 230 buses that are on the road, and we are short 145 buses for us to be operating at full scale. There's a budget of 60 million for the next financial year to purchase buses. That is not enough. That budget will only get us 30 buses. Now, we will still run short of 110, 115 buses. And it only gets us 30 buses, which are diesel buses. We must remember that Metrobus are the pioneers of public transport green energy. They are the first one to introduce gas-operated buses in the public domain. We are looking at going into electric buses. However, that also speaks to the budget constraints, it also speaks to the infrastructure development, but it also speaks to the skills development. Before we can even get there, we need to make sure that we've got skills capacity of mechanics and technicians who will be able to service those buses. However, we are mitigating that challenge. There has been presentations that are happening at Metrobus by private companies that are presenting the different energy models that are being implemented everywhere in the world. And we are inviting more to come and present so that we can then be able to also tap into the public transport grant. Because without money, we cannot achieve what we want to do. One of our biggest challenges, remember that Metrobus also collects revenue. We have seen that, or I have seen when I came in, during the presentations that we also have a problem of criminality. When there is no blitz operation is an operation undertaken by Metrobus and the Metro Corps, where they go and inspect the buses, monitor the numbers that are going into the buses. On a month, when we are not doing blitz patrol or blitz operation, or on a day, we would account for 175 people in a day that are using buses. Am I correct, MD? And on a day when on the days when blitz patrol or blitz operation is being implemented, we will account for between 580 to over 600 people that are boarding the buses. So that tells you that the drivers of the buses are actually taking advantage of the fact that we are not using technology to monitor the passengers that are coming onto the buses. So drivers are taking money from the passengers. The passengers are also paying half of what they should pay to the drivers. That is why the numbers are down when we are not doing blitz operations. We have a mitigation to that problem. However, ladies and gentlemen, there is a problem in the public service. There is a disease that we must deal with without any apology. It is corruption. 5 years ago, there is a system, a solution, a technological solution that was presented to Transport Department. It is called the automated fare system. The tender has been going to and fro, because when you look at the process of tendering, the process will start at the Transport Department and then it will end at the city with the EAC. That is the adjudication committee. Now, we all know that there's forever interest in who gets what tender. As I came in 4 weeks ago, this tender was about to be evaluated. However, ProPT found that there were issues with the process of the tender and the tender was cancelled. So now we are looking at alternative ways to make sure that this tender is implemented. And it's not only on the AFC. There are many tenders throughout the entities and the departments that gets cancelled because people at supply chain are not happy with the company that has won the tender because they have not negotiated with that company. We have to deal with that type of corruption, and we are going to deal with it. One of the other challenges that we find with Metrobus, as I said, is the breakdowns. Once the buses break down, there is no money to replace those buses. The other challenge is accidents. When a bus gets into an accident and it is written off, the insurance does not pay Metrobus directly. The insurance pays the city because the city is the one that is running the insurance of the fleet. But that money that is paid by the insurances never reaches Metrobus so that Metrobus can replace the bus that was written off by insurances. We are engaging the city to deal with that problem, because if money is meant for something else, it has to go there. That is why we are also not able to replace the buses, and the shortfall increases because money that is meant to replace buses never reaches Metrobus. So these are some of the challenges that we have to deal with. I will now go to Rea Vaya. I will just go through the summaries and I will then expect the questions. Rea Vaya was also established as a rapid mode of transport to assist people to be able to get to work very quickly and go back home. There's an integrated public transport network. That is the future of transportation in the city of Johannesburg. The model engages taxi drivers to take their taxis off the road and become part of the empowerment deal that then forms part of the Rea Vaya bus operating company. The first phase, which was 1A, had an empowerment partner being Piotrans. And it went very well, despite the challenges that have been there. As you would appreciate that there are many taxi owners that have to form part of Piotrans as shareholders, and also the establishment of the boards. I am of the belief, having listened to these challenges, that not much was done to assist Piotrans in terms of company law and good governance in running their business. That being said, the contract of Piotrans ended end of January 2023, just a month ago or so. However, because the tender was not finalized, to now go out so that we can get a new player into the empowerment deal or continue with Piotrans if they win the tender. The department then decided to appoint Piotrans on a deviation for 24 months whilst this tender process is being concluded. There are same challenges as Metrobus, although there are added challenges. The challenges that we face at Rea Vaya also speak to the breakdown of buses. We have challenges at the bus stations where the systems for the doors was introduced in 2009. There has never been any upgrade, there has never been any servicing. However, a turnkey plan is being put in place to appoint a service provider that will then service all these Rea Vaya bus stations so that they are clean, they are effectively working, but there's also security. We have installed solar panels to mitigate load shedding, especially when it comes to the issues of the cards, the validators. However, these panels continue to be stolen. Again, criminality plays a very high role in the vandalization of our infrastructure. That is why we have taken a conscious decision with the team after they presented to me that we are going to install security, to put up security companies as part of the facilities management. Metro Corps cannot assist us to guard the Rea Vaya stations. Metrobus only assists us to escort the buses, the last buses that have to go to the depot. Also because of criminality, that the buses are being stopped and the drivers are being robbed. So that is the only time when Metrobus assists us. But we also have challenges of criminality during the operation of the buses. But we are mitigating that with this turnkey program that we want to do. Is there anything that I'm missing on Rea Vaya? There is a debate between the city and Piotrans on the 12 years. Piotrans understands and believes that the negotiations were not done in good faith. Piotrans says they wouldn't have agreed to a 12 years contract if it was spoken about at the beginning. I have asked the executive director to arrange a meeting with the board of Piotrans and the board of Disciplinary so that I can get officially what the issues are and do some interventions. Whilst we are at Rea Vaya, you would have seen that on Monday there were no buses on the road in the city of Johannesburg. There was a strike by the Rea Vaya drivers. Rightly so, I must say. The drivers were within their right to go on strike. The drivers were supposed to be paid their salaries last week, Monday. They were requested to understand that they must come to work from Monday until Friday, and they will be paid their salaries on Friday. The reason being that Biotrans had tax problems. And due to these tax problems, the city could not appoint Biotrans. The city could not sign an SLA with Biotrans on the 24-month contract. And therefore, the city could not pay Biotrans. So Biotrans was limited in its finances to pay salaries for this month. And that then created a problem. So Biotrans supplied its tax clearance certificate on Thursday last week. The city was very slow in processing that tax clearance certificate. The city knew that once Biotrans supplies its clearance certificate, they have to process it. Because the city, Biotrans also had problems of diesel with Disamaiso. They owe Disamaiso millions for the diesel supply. And Disamaiso refused to provide diesel to them because of this debt. That was also exacerbated by this tax issue. Friday, there was fire at the Metro Center, and that affected the IT system. And that then led to even the processing of this contract being withheld. The drivers of Rea Vaya were not informed. Their shop stewards were not informed. The management of Biotrans at the depot was not informed. So the drivers had to go another 7 days. They understood and they agreed to go for 5 days without their salaries, which is their right. They have worked for the past month. So on Monday, without any communication, they decided to go on strike. I went to meet them, cancelled all my meetings. I met with the shop stewards and the management and the shareholders of Biotrans. And we found each other. The problem was just the signature of one of the group heads. They verified the tax clearance certificate, but there were other side issues that they were raising. And I intervened that this appointment be signed with immediate effect. And it was signed. I went with the shop stewards to Metro Center. The city manager was in a meeting. I asked that he be taken out of that meeting and sign the SLA. My belief is that the people of the citizens of Johannesburg cannot suffer, arrive at work late, some of them not be able to go to work, because officials are taking their time with things that are critical to service delivery. My boss is the citizens of Johannesburg. I went from office to office with the shop stewards and the shareholders of Biotrans. And everybody that needed to sign the document signed it. But then I was told that the system is down, they can't make payment. I'm a businessman. I've run companies. I still do. I told them, go to the bank and tell the bank to transfer. And they implemented that process within the supply chain rules, where they put together all the documents, gave them to the payment merchant, and the payment merchant instructed the bank to pay. And on Tuesday, as I promised the drivers of Rea Vaya and the workers of Biotrans that they will be paid, they were indeed paid on Tuesday. I might be accused of overreach, I don't really care. I will do an overreach whenever service delivery is hampered. I will do that. A signature, one or two signatures, hold service delivery to our people. The law restricts us as politicians, rightly so. But when things go wrong, it is us politicians who are blamed. So I will not allow officials to stand in the way of service delivery. Inasmuch as I will never tell them who to appoint, whether at HR or at procurement. But if they have to sign a document and they're taking their time, I'll deal with them. I will then go to the big elephant in the room, which is JRA. The acting CEO has got a big task with what is happening at JRA. Before I became the MMC of transport, I was complaining like everybody else. Potholes, they are lazy. They are not doing anything. I was very angry. My sports cars were suffering from potholes. And you know the price of a tire of a sports car is the price of 4 tires of some cars. So I got to understand now what happens in this department. Ladies and gentlemen, citizens of Johannesburg, the problem is bigger than potholes. Our road infrastructure is very old. Our road infrastructure is aged. Whenever roads are resurfaced, there's no maintenance plan or implementation. Our road infrastructure does not need 3 billion. Our road infrastructure needs more than 3 billion. We have got 13,999, around 14,000 kilometers of road in the city of Johannesburg. We've got bridges in the city of Johannesburg. We are managing 2,020 traffic signals in the city of Johannesburg. There are 238 traffic signals, intersections, managed by the province. We manage 30 traffic signals for Sandra. And I think Sandra gives us a budget. Do they pay for it?
We've got an agreement.
We've got an agreement with Sandra on maintaining 30 of their traffic signals. We have been maintaining 238 traffic signals for the Gauteng province. But in February 2022, we had to cancel that agreement because the Gauteng province owed us 16 million rands in maintenance of the traffic signals that belong to them. They were not prepared to engage us on a new SLA that will speak to the effectiveness of our maintenance. You have a traffic signal that is very critical, R558, corner R558 and N12. That is the biggest intersection when you go to, on the N12 after the 2 filling stations, when you go to Lanseria or you go to Randfontein and Protea. That belongs to the province. It does not belong to JRA or the city of Johannesburg. That traffic signal does not even have traffic signals anymore, that intersections. So when people complain sometimes about the roads and about the traffic signals, it's not all that belong to JRA. We are engaging province because there's a new MEC, there's a new HOD, and we are going to engage them as of next week for them to pay our 16 million that they owe us and to hand over all those 238 traffic signals so that we can maintain them with a budget that they must understand. We cannot maintain those traffic signals without a budget. We pay about between 80 and 400,000 to fix one traffic signal. And you have people drunk, bumping traffic signals, destroying traffic signals. And there is nothing in law that holds the citizens accountable. A person bump a traffic signal and then they just go. They are not held accountable. I have said to the team, we need to put together a bylaw that will speak to mitigating this particular weakness. We cannot have drunkards destroying our infrastructure and they are not held accountable. And they say, no, the city has got insurance, it will pay. It costs us a lot of money. That money could have gone into doing other things. There are roads that belong to the province. I was called by one of the political leaders very angry that his car's tires and rims have been destroyed by a pothole on William Nicol. And I went to the site. When I called the operations manager of Region E, I was told that William Nicol belongs to province, it doesn't belong to us. So province only comes to fix the roads when bridges collapse on the roads that belong to province. But small things like potholes, I don't think they really care. And that is why next week part of our discussions with them will be for them to give us maintenance of the roads that belong to them. Because when people see potholes, they see the city of Johannesburg. They see JRA. They don't know that it is the competency of Gauteng province. And unfortunately, they don't give us a budget to maintain these roads. So, but there's a bigger problem, two bigger problems. In maintaining our roads. One of the problems is our staff at implementation level. You have got staff at the depots who do not really care, some of them. There are regions with staff that is committed. I will single out a particular region that I have visited. When floods were happening in February, a councillor in Protea called me that she went to Region G depot because there were floods all over, and she even sent me the videos of what was happening. Then she was told by the workers who were on duty on a Saturday that they are doing a sit-in and therefore they are not going to service the people of Soweto. I called the CEO who was in Potchefstroom with his family, and he called the regional manager who was told the same thing. The CEO had to call a regional manager of Region C to go and get a grader and go and help the people of Soweto. Now, ladies and gentlemen, on Tuesday when I came back from London Road, I went to see Region G employees to understand what are the issues. This is what they said to us with the CEO. If we don't tell them when we are paying their bonuses, we must not speak to them. Now the bonuses were paid to some of the workers, others, their documents were not proper and they could not be paid. But a bonus is a privilege. Now, I will not be intimidated by a worker wearing a t-shirt of SAMU. Never. These people for over a month, they have been on a sit-in. The potholes around Region G are not being fixed. Roads is not being maintained. Because people come to work with t-shirts of SAMU and think that we must be intimidated. I said to the CEO, let us go and let the law take its course. And he told me that yesterday he gave them a warning, all of them, that they must be back to work by Monday. If they are not back to work, the law will take its course. Our people are not going to suffer because of laziness, disguised as sit-ins.
Some of these people who work at the depots, they come at 8 o'clock to work, they leave at 11 o'clock. The people of the city of Johannesburg are suffering because people are not doing what they are paid for. When people are looking for jobs, they are begging, they are crying, they tell you they have families. When they get jobs, they become lazy, disrespectful, and they don't care. And this thing does not start there at the depots. It starts at the top level. Every department in government, this is what happens. People don't come to work on Monday, they leave early on Friday. It's going to stop, not under my watch. I am prepared to work with the unions. I worked with NUMSA and I worked with SATAU to resolve the issue of Rea Vaya workers. And within an hour, I had 2 documents signed because we both wanted to service the people of Johannesburg. But if SAMU, its leaders at branch level, are going to intimidate the shareholder who pays them a salary and think that they'll get away with it, not under my watch. I said I'm going to deal with lazy people, and that's what I'm going to do. I represent shareholders. I represent the people of the city of Johannesburg. Whether you are an employee, whether you are a company, I will make sure that we deal with you within the confines of the law. There is no favor with me. One of the challenges that we are facing is substandard work by companies. Companies are constructing our roads in a very poor manner. And the project managers at JRA sign off on this shady work. This shady work that has been done by these private companies. Do you know why? The private companies end up doing this substandard work because they have to pay the politicians, they have to pay the project manager, they have to pay the supply chain people. It's all because of corruption. That is the truth. We went to extension 26 and 27 last week Monday with the CEO and the team to do a short training. Those 2 extensions have been built years ago. The stormwater drains are non-existent. Every time when it rains, water goes into the houses of people. Now, such a big development, it means that somebody signed off on those roads. Somebody signed off on that development. Nobody's being held accountable. No one. Now we are going to do a 3-kilometer distance fixing stormwater, where we must now even do trenches on the road, on the tar road that we have already built. So it is costing us twice to build road infrastructure because of collaboration between officials and construction companies. We are going to revisit that. GPC is going to be overworked with cases that we are going to report. We are not going to leave, and I'm not the Minister of Police, but we are not going to leave any stone unturned. The project managers at planning, those who signed off must account. Those who signed off at JRA must account. We cannot allow substandard work being done and people get away with it because of greed. In Orange Farm, I have been informed that paving was done, tar was put on. The road is worse than when it was gravel road because of substandard work. So even these companies must know that we are coming for them. We are coming for them. If you decide to do a deal and pay politicians and officials, that's your business, Baba. But when you get appointed through a procurement process, we expect high superior standard of work for our people. The potholes. Everybody talks about the Ministry of Potholes. There's no need for a Ministry of Potholes. I am the MMC of transport, not potholes. I look at potholes like the SMMEs. It's an insult to what we want to do. Because the workers at the depots go and patch potholes. Our road infrastructure does not need patching. It needs total overhauling. The structural deficiencies under the road are the ones that are causing potholes. So you will keep fixing potholes and they will keep coming back. You are like a monkey standing at a tap with a bucket that does not have a bottom. You are going to keep on trying to reach a result that you will never ever reach. So, we need money. We need 37 billion rands to be able to reconstruct our roads properly. National government and provincial government and the city of Johannesburg all say Joburg is a world-class city. Trust me, every day of my life since I've been an MMC, I go to sites, I go to assess, I go to inspect. Our infrastructure, our road infrastructure is far from being world-class. It's far from being world-class. It must be compared to a village or a rural type of infrastructure. Now, if national government is serious and provincial government is serious about turning Johannesburg into a world-class city, it must start with the roads. The roads speak to the economic stimulation of any city. If your road infrastructure is not up to standard, business is going to suffer. Business is going to suffer. So, I will be engaging again the province next week on an increased budget that comes straight to JRA, not to the city, so that we can be able to do this thing once and for all and fix our roads properly. You go to Cosmos City, citizens of Johannesburg, it's the road that was constructed there. It's worse. It's so bad that people have to take longer distances to get home. It's worse. They were actually saying to me, the councillor from Cosmos City, can you just come with a grader and remove all these broken pieces of tar that are there so that it's a flat road? It's not good for our people. It's really, really not good for our people to live like that. And it's business as usual. Nobody does anything about it. You go to Eldorado Park, you go to Enate, you must look at the road infrastructure there. But then our citizens are also to blame for some of the things that are happening. Politicians are always afraid to blame the citizens. I am here to tell the truth. Because if we can't join hands together, citizens, business, and government, to make our roads better, it will never work. The citizens of Johannesburg, let me start with the water issue. In the suburbs, you have people who have got swimming pool schools at their houses. When they do back washing of the swimming pool, water goes onto the road. They have a pipe that goes out onto the road. They even pave a trench so that this water is guided onto the road. Where that water lands and is not running, it creates a pothole. You have people in the townships who do washing, laundry. That water, they throw it on the road. You've got sewage coming out of the streets. Where it lands, it creates potholes. So our people need to start talking to each other. You've got people who have built shacks and houses on the paved pathway, pedestrian path on the road, and they build on top of the services, the stormwater drainages. Then they block the stormwater drains. They dump in the stormwater drains. Some of them, it looks like they deliberately put things there to block the drains. So water runs on the surface. Where it lands, it creates potholes. So I refuse to be an MMC who operates like a monkey. We must deal with the causes of the problems before we deal with the effects. So we need to strengthen our bylaws so that we prosecute people who do that. This is the infrastructure. This is your infrastructure. The budget that goes on fixing the same things every time should have done more elsewhere. So we need to get our roads in perfect condition. And I started on London Road, where I was doing that education program, talking to the residents so that they understand the damage that they're causing to our roads. There's also this issue of dumping. The people who sell food on the side of the roads, next to the taxi ranks, everywhere, they dump their mochodus, whatever that they have washed, they dump it in the K-ice. Blockages happen. When water can't find its way underground, it will go onto the surface. That causes potholes. So we need to go out of our way. What committees, youth forums, let us educate our people about their contribution to potholes. We cannot fix potholes that are wet. Check each and every pothole. 60% of the potholes have water. I have spoken to the MMC of EISD, which then has Joburg water falling under there. You will see that Joburg water was here when you see pieces of tar on the side of the road and water on a hole. So Joburg water needs to talk to JRA whenever they are going to dig trenches on our roads, because they dig trenches to fix the water issues. When they are done, they leave those holes like that, or they put sand to cover. That creates a pothole. Now JRA must come and fix these things. So even intergovernmental departments have to talk, and I have started that communication. We are now going to bring officials together. Even where I stay in Bryanston, I have seen that there's a road that we cannot fix. It is forever wet, because once Joburg water has fixed and they leave, and there's a leakage, they don't come back to fix that leakage. It doesn't matter how many people log on. So it's very important that as departments we speak to each other. We cannot have our people suffer because of egos. We must work together to make sure that our people drive on proper roads. When public service doesn't work, when public institutions don't function properly, it costs the middle class, it costs ordinary people. And I'll make you an example. When public hospitals don't work, as they don't work, people have to pay for medical aid to get proper medical care. But if public hospitals were properly functional, people wouldn't have to pay medical aid. So they are losing money that they should be supporting their families with. When police don't function properly and fight crime, people have to pay private security companies. Now, because of the conditions of our roads with potholes, now people have to pay insurance companies so that they are able to buy them cars as in when it happens. It cannot be. When the public institutions are dysfunctional, it costs our people. I heard an insurance company on a radio station saying, pay 79 rand will fix your tires, will help you deal with potholes. It can't be that as government, we are so dysfunctional. We are not fixing things, and our people has to suffer financially. It cannot be, it's not fair. And I'm committed to fighting, both in the province and at national, to get enough money to fix our roads. There's too much money being stolen in corruption. We get figures that shock you of money that disappears. That money should have done something for our people. Now let me come to the staff at JRA. I'm sure my big sister here, Farrell, is boiling to ask me a question about the CEO because she broke the story. We have just introduced new boards last week, and I must say that I commend the board of JRA. They were the first board to meet yesterday of all the boards of the city. All 13 people left whatever that they were doing and responded to the call to meet because they understand the task that is ahead. And I want to thank the chairperson, Charles Silies, who has driven this meeting to happen. And on the issue of the CEO, I want to say that I think we have a capable board. And I think they will deal with this matter decisively. I was given an opportunity to address the board at the induction, and I made it very clear. My experiences in the 4 weeks that I have been MMC of transport. There's something that I don't understand in government. Here is evidence. You appoint a law firm to go and investigate. You appoint a forensic company to go and investigate. They come and bring you a report based on the information that they have. And it takes you 2 years, 3 years to sit in a disciplinary hearing. It's not right. The person has got a family. He must be given an opportunity to give his side of the story. So I asked the board to make sure that all disciplinary hearings are held as soon as possible. As soon as possible, including the matter of the CEO, and I've been informed that there is a disciplinary process that is underway. And I hope that the CEO will have an opportunity to put his side of the story. You know, the media can exaggerate sometimes, not specifically you, Osvaldo, but generally, the media can exaggerate. So I think it is in the best interest of the CEO to also have an opportunity to give his side of the story so that we can bring this matter to finality. I don't like this thing of acting. Everybody, almost everyone is acting at JRA, acting human resource, acting supply chain, acting CEO. It's not good for the effective running of the entity because people who are acting are sometimes afraid to take decisions. I was told that there's too much corruption happening at JRA. Unfortunately, I'm limited to go into certain departments. But I must say, with what has been put before me, there is indeed weight to what has been said. My point is one and one only. If you have been found guilty of corruption, you must face the music. There are people who are found guilty of stealing 32 million at transport, am I right? 32 million. I'm told they won their case at the bargaining council. And if a person has won a case, let him come back. But if a person has lost at the bargaining council, that person must face the music. There's people who stole 1.2 million from Metrobus. We are told they have to come back. I am waiting to see the reports. But the question is, if people have stolen money from the citizens of Johannesburg, from poor people, from rich people, from the middle class, why is there no criminal case opened? Why are we not giving the courts an opportunity to do what they are supposed to do? Why is it only going through a disciplinary process? If people have committed acts of fraud, why are criminal cases not opened? That's one thing that I don't understand in government. People commit crimes. Guess what happens? Then you are told, hey, you are spending too much money, let us negotiate to settle. I will never settle with somebody that has not faced the law. I will never settle with anyone that has not faced the law. Go to court. If the court finds you not guilty, let us come and talk. But if you are found guilty, go and face the music. I faced my music for 6 years. I committed fraud in my life. I went to prison for 6 years. I'm back. I'm leading the biggest city in this country. So, my point is, let us not sugarcoat corruption. Let us not fight corruption at the bottom. We must fight it at the top. Let us put qualified people in positions. But most importantly, citizens of Johannesburg, let us protect whistleblowers. Whistleblowers are being killed. Whistleblowers are being targeted out of their jobs. I have said to the executives, I commit to protect whistleblowers. There are 2 now. I have said the MD and the CEO must go and request GPs and Metropolis to protect them from home to work and from work to home. Because what they have divulged is shocking. And they came to me because of what I said and took me into confidence. We have had contact with one of the biggest suppliers of fuel, diesel and oil, because their logos was used by one of the suppliers in some of our entities. But because there were suspicions, and because of my call to expose corruption, even when it is done by the companies, one of our employees exposed this. And we got in touch with one of the big corporate companies that are in the fuel industry. And they said, yes, it is our logo, but we are not supplying those people. It can only mean one thing and one thing only. The case is with the Hawks. They are investigating. We will brief you when the time is right. We have found out that parts that are bought to go and fix the buses, they don't reach the buses. We have informed the Hawks because we want an investigation. But we have also agreed with the CEO, and I have spoken to the MMC of Public Safety, that we need to bring back infrastructure unit under Metropolis, whose task is to investigate vandalism of our infrastructure, but also to investigate these things of substandard work before we can hand it over to the police. So we are going to beef up that unit so that we are able to mitigate the issue of vandalism. We have an issue of load shedding, ladies and gentlemen, which unfortunately I don't have the mandate to deal with it. Load shedding affects our traffic lights, our traffic signals. I was told I must say traffic signals. We've got homeless people conducting traffic. It is a disgrace on a city that is said to be a world-class city. It is an embarrassment, serious embarrassment. And every time I see them, I'm in my blue light, and we must stop and wait for them to tell us to go. The pain I feel is excruciating. So, I've had a discussion with the public safety MMC. How do we resolve this? Where do we get the budget to train people so that we can have trained people? But we must also invite the private sector. And I'm happy to announce that the first company that responded to our call and I will read what the CEO has prepared for me. In a very exciting initiative, the Johannesburg Roads Agency has entered into an agreement with the Sandton Central Management District that will see traffic signals at major intersections in Sandton Central operate throughout load shedding through a secondary power source from adjacent building owners. The first property owner participating in this traffic signal secondary power initiative is Investec. Investec's generator resources will power the intersections at Grayston Drive and Rivonia Road, and Grayston Drive and West Road South. So we are inviting all the other companies. It does not cost you. You have got a generator, you have got solar power. When load shedding kicks in, your generator or solar power kicks in. All that we are asking, not for GRA, but for your clients, for the citizens of Johannesburg, allow us to plug in the traffic signal next to your building onto your generator. So that when your building gets power, our traffic signals can get power. Whilst we are sourcing enough money to bring smart traffic light system. We have had presentations from some of the companies that have come forward and said, this is how we can mitigate your load shedding issue. But it's not only load shedding, there's also vandalism. So when you mitigate load shedding, you must mitigate vandalism. What causes vandalism? It is the copper that is inside the poles that gives us power from Eskom. So we need to look at a different source of power and take out the copper so that we can then power our traffic lights, traffic signals without using Eskom's power, because it then causes vandalism. There are companies that are prepared to do a, what do they call it? Pilot of their products. We are just going through the processes of government so that we are able to then allocate them certain traffic signals so that they can then implement this pilot project to show us what their products can do. Then we can go out on tender. But we are going to bring solutions. But whilst we are bringing these solutions, we are saying to businesses, give us access to your backup power. Because when traffic lights are dark, when traffic lights are not working in the dark, it becomes a crime hotspot. People get robbed because it's very dark. So traffic signals also help to give a bit of light on our roads. So assist your clients and assist the citizens of Johannesburg. We have tried with one of the big malls as a pilot. It has worked. We are going to engage other malls, shopping malls, to also power our traffic lights through the generators. I want to thank Investec for being part of this initiative. We've got 50 traffic signals that we are targeting on this pilot project, and we hope that more will come. But I also want to appeal even to Investec and all the other companies. As you do the traffic intersections in the suburbs, also pick up one or two that goes into our townships, so that we can also assist with traffic congestion and criminality at our intersections. There is something that has been bothering me, and I thought I will leave it for last but one. There is a 60 million worth of investment that has been done by JRA. JRA purchased an asphalt plant. I went to see that plant. There is a laboratory that tests soil, crusher, and bitumen when it gets delivered there, whether it is of high quality or not. That plant is not in a working condition. That plant is not functional because JRA is in a court battle with a company that's supposed to supply bitumen. Now, this plant produces 200 tons of asphalt per hour. 200 tons per hour. This plant has got another leg to it, to recycle the tar that you take out, the old tar. You don't have to throw it away. You put it on a truck, you take it to the plant, and then you recycle it, and then it goes back onto the roads. That can save us up to 50% of what we are spending. I don't understand, for all these years, how did our roads get to the position, to the condition that they are in, when we have invested so much money in a plant that can even generate revenue for the city of Johannesburg? We can produce enough asphalt to fix our roads, to resurface our roads, to reconstruct new roads, and to even sell to the private sector and also sell to other municipalities, thereby generating revenue. And if that asphalt generates revenue, JRA can employ more young people at each and every block without costing the city a cent. At each and every block, we can deploy young people, maintaining the roads. But you know why? It works, then it doesn't work. It works, then it doesn't work. It's two things. The first one is the procurement process. When a valve blows, and the plant can't work, it takes 3 weeks, sometimes 3 months, to just get a valve because of the processes. So the business model of the plant itself, its effectiveness, is misplaced. That plant can be operated on a government process. That is not JRA's core mandate. So we need to revisit the model so that that plant is effective. Those plants are designed and made to work 24 hours continuously. So when it stops, it works. It stops, it creates breakdowns. That is its technology. The good thing that has been done there is that it is even operating from gas, not diesel. So the cost of operating the plant is not even high. The second problem is some people want the plant not to work so that private businesses can supply tar or asphalt to the city at exorbitant prices and they can eat. There's this thing of eating in government. Diko phela dijo tseo tso reng wa dija in my department. They are going to choke you. That eating is going to choke you. When we find you, we are going to deal with you like a dog deals with a bone. We will not be afraid to fire people who have been found guilty of corruption and theft. Our people have suffered for too long. Our people have suffered for too long. Now, if you can have such an infrastructure and have scientists on site who remain bored, those young boys and girls and women there are bored. They are saying to me, MMC, please, let's make this thing work. You will have enough asphalt to even generate revenue. So I have asked the board to look into this. We've got a solution that will cost us less, but we are not doing it. So that is a matter of concern for me. I'm a businessman. So what is happening is you've got a neighbor in your garage, but you are busy using an Uber to fare you everywhere, spending more on the Uber. So we are going to get that asphalt up and running. We are going to engage on this case. I have to be briefed by legal how far and where is this case. We cannot have a court case that is in the way of service delivery. It doesn't make sense. Our mandate is service delivery, not court cases. But there's a little that I heard, that one CEO just terminated the contract while there was a court process. Now GRA is being sued for millions. We must also interrogate what happened there. But we'll get this asphalt up and running. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I didn't want to bore you with the details and the figures. I wanted to go straight to the bone so that we deal with the issues that are of importance. We have got big challenges. We are in court with PATCO. Tomorrow we are in the Supreme Court with PATCO on a administrative issue. The city won the first case and then they appealed. But also there's another matter that is being discussed at provincial level that we are engaging in. My appeal is only one: to National Treasury and Provincial Treasury, National Department of Transport and Provincial Department of Transport. The responsibility of our roads being of a world-class standard does not just rest with GRA. It also rests with you. You've got the money. Bring the money. Let us join hands. If you want to bring capacity of human capital to process these things, do that. But stop returning money to National Treasury Province. We are short of buses. Public transport grant is given to the province. As we speak, there's 7 billion. I'm telling you now, that 7 billion might go back to treasury because of egos. Because of egos. For the past few years, that public transportation grant continues to go back to national treasury. Now, we've got these big problems in our country, and departments are returning money to national treasury. What does that say? It says that people are not doing their work. People are not committed to service delivery. Because if you use all the money that you have been given, you are going to be able to implement and change the lives of our people. We've got a high unemployment rate, but there's no money. We had an adjustment budget just now. The previous administration left no money in the kitty of Johannesburg. There was 400 million because of mismanagement. Treasury expects us to have 1.3 billion in the coffers of the city of Johannesburg. The previous administration left only 400 million. So for us to be able as a city to get enough budget in the next financial year, we had to cut budgets. When you look at JRA alone, 600 million has been cut from OPEX and CAPEX projects. So between now and June, there's 600 million worth of work that can be done. That is the reality that we are sitting at. Metrobus, 129 million. Am I right?
60 million.
60 million. 60 million has been cut from Metrobus. We need 250 million to buy 145 buses to operate properly for the citizens of Johannesburg. Dololo, cut. But as a coalition, we had to take those decisions so that the financial management or the financial status of the city can be sound for Treasury to give us a budget for the next financial year. I am going to ask for more because all of us are using roads. Poor, rich, middle class. We are all using roads. So I'm going to ask for more. I'm going to talk to province tomorrow and next week at our meeting on Wednesday. It's a meeting for something else, and I know that they need our signature, ED. But before they get our signature, they must tell us how much are they giving us to fix the roads? How much are they giving us to make sure that Metrobus is fully functional? Transport, we've got Rea Vaya. Egos of people, when the budget, the subsidy budget comes for Rea Vaya, people say, no, it is too much for Rea Vaya. As if they are the ones that are running Rea Vaya. There's egos in the city of Johannesburg. So we need to deal with officials. I have set the tone with my officials. I said to them, no one is going to be perished. But if you are corrupt, the law must take its course. If you are lazy, the law must take its course. If you are a hard worker, we will eat ice cream together. Simple. Very, 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 very simple. So that is the issue that I wanted to raise. And I think the program director will then open for questions. And all of us will respond to these questions. But this is where we are. We have the solutions. We have the political will. We have staff that is now motivated. We have our ground forces. You see them there. They look tired, but they will be energized after I speak to them. We are all geared up to work. I am bringing my sushi energy into government. I'm making sure that we are all at work. Otherwise, why am I in government? I should have sat at my corner and continue to eat sushi of beautiful girls. But I decided that our country is falling apart. Our country is falling apart, and I can't just think of myself. I must think of my children. I must contribute to building this country. Plato said, the penalties of refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being ruled by people who are inferior than you. And I've seen a lot of inferior people to me ruling this country. That is why I'm in politics. That is why I'm in government, to work. I'm no longer eating sushi. I've got a beautiful wife, very happy with my family. Now the people of the city of Johannesburg have given me a mandate through their votes. I'm not here through back doors. The people of Johannesburg have voted for us. The people of El Dorado Park have given us 2 seats. So we have to work. The people of Alex and Soweto, Diepsloot, Orange Farm have voted for us. We have 8 seats in the city of Johannesburg. I must serve all those people with dedication and commitment, without fear or favor. There are at JRA companies that call officials to sign off on their payments even when they are corrupt, and they threaten their families. We are going to find them. I have made an appointment with the head of crime intelligence. We met briefly. We are now going to meet again. We will chase them like we chase rats in a hole. My officials will not be intimidated by corrupt private companies. We are going to deal with them. As we fix officials, we must also fix these corrupt ones who are driving V-classes and Mercedes-Benzes and Porsches. We must deal with them. Tender, do business correctly, the right way. Substandard work is going to be investigated and people are going to be prosecuted.